Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. If you have a gardening question you'd like our host Fred Howard to answer, send him an email. The email address is fred@planttalkradio.com. Now for today's question. Let's talk a little bit about trees. So you're talking about trees. You've been looking around and you've been looking up.
I have been looking up and down. I was at a property just very recently where there are many tree problems. The lady had been advised by 3 different people. Some said cut them down or cut this one down, do this, do that, the next thing. She was absolutely confused, and I can appreciate why. I gave her more confusion but reasons for thought. A tree in her front yard had been topped at one point in time, either by Mother Nature, being a big fat crow landing up there and breaking the top out, or an ice load, or somebody intentionally cut it out. It has a dog leg in it. And then, unfortunately, it's not just a step aside and on up. It's a 3-part branching. Bad crotch. Mm-hmm. The tree can live on. It is highly subject, though, because it is a tulip tree. It is highly subject to breaking. So I've told her that every 3 to 5 years, she needs to have someone come in, and I'm going to carefully now state reduce the top of that plant, not top it, but cut back to lateral branches, do the job right. There's many good terms for it, but absolutely no topping. Now, we move on from there. She has a beautiful 4-stem magnolia. It's branched just 18 inches above the ground. Each branch is approaching 8, 9, and 10 inches in diameter. Mm-hmm. They extend out and down. The tree is magnificent until the next ice load come fall, or until a wind twist like Ike from last year. Fortunately, it'll live through Ike. She has the option on that tree to just wait and let nature take its course. Right now, the branches are from probably a height of 18 feet down to touching the ground. It's absolutely beautiful, but a liability to itself. I gave her the option of having the tree cabled so that it would be less apt to break apart, or just wait and see. We walked on around, and her house is a walkout basement. And other trees have now, in 35 years, gotten some size to them. They are, unfortunately, 2 of them silver maples, very, very high-rooted. The roots are bigger than my thigh. It's almost impossible to mow that area and make it look good anyhow. I told her that she can not take off all the roots. She already knew that, fortunately, and stopped one fellow from doing that. He's going to bring in a stump grinder and take them all off. Whoa, That tree has to be anchored in the ground. To take them all off is desperately bad. However, a branch can be removed from a tree and not hurt it. A root can usually be removed from a tree and not hurt it. But it's 1 or a very small percentage of the roots any 1 year. Then we come to the next thing, and that is there was one of the trees that had been at the bottom of the hill. Silt had moved down this hill long enough to cover it up. It was going in the ground like a post. I couldn't tell if there was a good root flare or not. Mm-hmm. The tree at the top of the hill was making it almost impossible. So what I suggested to her is that this fall, roughly August 15th, an awkward time in terms of vacations and all, but a mandate, because the leaves will be coming down in September and October. That is out of the trees. You want to put on no more than 3 inches. That would partially cover the big roots that are sticking up. Put on 3 inches of soil, level it out, plant grass seed, and get some grass going to be mowed right at the time the new leaves start to come down. She can blow them off without raking and not tearing up the new grass and resolve this part of the problem. Next year, she can add another 3 inches and then have to stop. Then we come to a tulip tree again. Big, beautiful tree when you stand back and look at it. 2 tops, bad, narrow crotch. But that was at the low level. That was at 12 feet. On up at about 18 feet, there were 2 branches about 12 or 14 inches in diameter. The crack between them was down 7 feet, just waiting for the next wind to come down and hurt somebody. So those are the things we need to look up and take care of, as calling a good arborist, having them come in for a consult, and then doing as much as you can afford in any one time. Keep your trees in shape a little bit at a time, just like brushing your teeth. Do it every day.
Hey, thanks again for listening to our podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our other podcasts as well, the Plant of the Week podcast and the Plant Talk Radio podcast, all on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to sponsor a daily podcast, contact us at fred@planttalkradio.com. To find out more about Fred Howard and Plant Talk Radio, visit our website, planttalkradio.com.
This is Michelle Wilson, host of the Business Inspires podcast from the Tri-Village Chamber Partnership. To run a successful business, you need resources, valuable connections, and community recognition. In each episode of the Business Inspires podcast, we talk with small business community leaders who will inspire you to create the business you are envisioning. The Business Inspires podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, your Alexa device, and your favorite podcast player.
Circle270media.com